morning, team. It is Tuesday, July 9th. I'm Amy Corr. I'm here with Kevin Van Eck. We hope you had a great holiday weekend. And we are back, ready for another great episode of Coffee, aren't we?
We are.
Yes,
We're here.
yes. So we've got a great topic to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about increasing your average price point. Anyone interested in that? We hope so. So grab your cup of coffee and let's jump into the next episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
Let's do it. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, so we know a few things, and the key is that there's only 3 ways to really increase your income or maintain it. We know that transactions have been down, the whole jam we've been hearing for, 2 years, a year and a half now. So with that, one of the ways that we want to focus on is increasing your average price point. Because out of the 3, you have the ability to increase your income through selling more,
Right.
but inventory's down, even though it's increasing, but inventory's down. The other way you can do it is by increasing your average commission. But that's probably not the easiest thing to do specifically right now. So focusing on increasing your average price point so that you can do more with less, in theory, fewer transactions as fewer opportunities exist. But by increasing your average price point, your commission is going to be higher.
Yeah, and I love that because it's like being really intentional in thinking about it. So I think even step 1 is look at what your average price point is now,
Right.
and where do you want it to get to? You know, I think that's really step 1. And then once you figure that out, so maybe your average price point is 500,000 and you want to move to 800 as an average price point, knowing there's opportunity in your market to do that, right? Or you're at 850 and you want to go to $1.2 million. Whatever it is, whatever market you're in, you have that opportunity to look at where you're at now and make that adjustment. But I think step 1 is that whenever you're kind of elevating up, right, or trying to move into a bracket of consumer that is paying more for things, including their housing, including vacations, schooling, all of those things, you know, you need to make sure currently, do I look the part? And I know that kind of can come across maybe sort of shallow, but the reality is your consumer needs to feel like they can connect with you. And you may already be there, but if you're not, or if you're not sure, I think the best thing that you can do, right, is to start thinking, do I dress the part for that $1.2 million clientele? You know, the language that I use, the terminology, and it might not even be price point. It also could be age group, right? I think that's the other thing to be thinking about is, do I resonate when I'm interacting with these individuals? And, you know, when they see me, do they see me as somebody they would love to work with and transact with? So I think it's looking the part, being able to talk about it. And again, it isn't necessarily showing up in a suit and tie, but it's showing up in something that feels relatable. It could be a great pair of jeans and a blazer, right? Whatever it takes, but being really aware of the fact that you might need to make some subtle changes to be more attractive or have people feel as if you're the type of agent that they want to work with.
That's right. There's no sort of template for it. It's really dressed for the audience you want to relate with.
Exactly.
Because they don't know you necessarily. If you haven't met them or talked with them, that it's that first impression that tells them whether or not they want to engage with you or not.
Yep, agreed.
So I think the second piece of this then is going into how to educate yourself in the luxury market. And when we say the luxury market, that encompasses a lot of things, right? You have to be able to relate to these folks. So it is being aware and understanding the price point, everything that's all the dynamics in the market that's happening at that price point. But it's also understanding the inventory that's out there. So if you want to work in the 2 million plus or the 5 million plus, make sure you understand and look, go visit, talk with the agents that work in that market currently so you can communicate effectively about it. And then it's also understanding luxury brands, high-end finishes. So luxury brands, of course, you know, the Celine, the Goyard, the Hermes, luxury finishes when it comes to cabinets, Poke and Pole, when it comes to bath fixtures, the Lefroy Brooks, all of these so that you can, again, communicate and relate to the folks you're talking with. And this translates into a couple of things. One is obviously you can contribute to a conversation. It sounds like you're in a position in this market already, but it gives you a unique opportunity to also complement these folks when you're in their homes or when you see them around. And they're proud of what they've been able to purchase or what they own or what they've built. So if you recognize that their home was the architect or the builder is someone who's well known, like a Paul Constant in Chicago, or maybe a designer like Summer Thornton, point that out. And actually, this is a good story. The other weekend, I was in Napa for our Christie's International Real Estate Wine Country grand opening, and it was amazing. Our owners there, the Bentleys, really fabulous, but I met somebody who owns a boutique in Calistoga. And good thing I knew what I was talking about, but I complimented her on her bag. She had a Hermes bag. And she lit up because somebody recognized what she had, and I guarantee everyone in the room knew what she had.
Right.
But it was immediately attractive. We were connected from that very point on.
Well, and it probably showed a certain level of confidence of you being able to actually, recognize the brand and say something. Because let's face it, when people are walking in with fabulous bags or shoes, they do it because they love the stuff that they are buying, but they do want it to be noticed, you know? Right. So I think it is knowing that. So I'm glad that you knew the brand and you didn't, call out something incorrectly. That would have been not so good. But I also think too, it's educating yourself on the brands, but I also think you need to educate yourself on opportunity in the market when you're looking to increase your average price point. We were at the Christie's conference a week or so ago, and one of the things that resonated with me was a person on stage owns a company called Quintessentially, and it is basically a concierge level service. It allows or helps anyone who can really sort of afford this service to help with travel plans, any sort of social events that they want to plan, a pretty wide spectrum. And one of the things that I thought was so interesting is that she talked about an untapped market of, we're going to say about 45 years and older, of women particularly who have a lot of financial, are well off financially and have discretionary income. But she was saying that so much of the marketing and advertising that you see out there right now doesn't really tailor itself to this audience. And so I think for all of us out there, that's something interesting to think about is in your marketplace, who are the players, who are maybe an audience that's also underserved, and can you make sure that you're connecting with them? So, being that could or could not maybe be the world that I'm in, I found that kind of interesting.
Maybe not. No, but that's true. Look where the opportunity is, right? And then tailor your approach to that.
Yeah. And then I think also it's also about being able to figure out how to connect with these people, right? So you've got to figure out how to be able to put yourself in a position where you're in front of them, right? And one of the things you and I were just talking about, which I loved, is there's actually two different websites or resources. It's called Wealth Engine and WealthX. And these are actual search engines that I think provide insight and information on kind of higher net worth individuals, whether they've made a significant move. And maybe you share more, because I know you know a little bit more about this data that they've got.
It pulls in, so it's a database essentially of high net worth individuals. It's not inexpensive, right? But the payout, if you were going to use it, is worth it. If you were doing the right things like what you're talking about, is targeting the right audience, tailoring it to them. But it allows you to not only look at the database of these folks and reach out to them, whether it's through mail, in some cases email and phone. Obviously use caution, discretion when reaching out. But it's interesting because it also alerts you to significant events that happen. Meaning, if you have a client in your database, it will provide a dossier on them. And if they have a significant event, like an investment or a sales event, it will tell you that now, hey, they just cashed out for, call it $52 million because they just sold one of their business entities.
Wow.
So it's good information to have. It includes stock data. So this isn't a commercial for Wealth Engine or WealthX. It's only a great tool if you use it. So it's something to look at if you do want to target the high net worth individual.
And I think it's just an example that there is data out there. So whatever you're interested in targeting, find it, because there's probably a database out there, again, related to, females who might have a certain level of, discretionary income, et cetera.
Absolutely.
So I think it's great, like seeing what data you can pull or information that's available. But I also think it's as simple as networking and going to events and getting out and being in front of people, whether it is going to conferences or seminars. And it doesn't also just have to be finding the consumer. Starting to figure out how to connect with other agents in different markets that have a similar, type of business or interests that you do, and starting to connect and network that way. I mean, the conference that we just had had last week was a great example of that. But even Inman, any of these different places where as agents we can connect with other agents. It's also going to different places too. Like we were talking about the merchandise mart, right? That's where a lot of people design and do certain things for their home. So it's like, are you in flow, and are you kind of in places where you have the opportunity to meet the right people?
That's right. And look for outside of real estate, like in Chicago, right? We have Crane Chicago Business. They oftentimes have CEO panels or events. They have CFO panels or events, so C-level executives. Those are good events to go and listen and learn, but also to connect and network with some of these folks.
Yeah. Lots of opportunities. So if increasing your average price point is something or a strategy that you'd like to consider, start thinking about ways that you can speak and look the part, make sure you're educating yourself, and then also getting into a room and making a connection with the right kinds of people. So we hope you found this helpful. Make it a great Tuesday, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. But remember, until then, you've got this.